Thanks so much. So, TechCrunch, again, so we were the first ones to open, and now we are closing this. So, we're honored once again. And with further ado, let's start this. So, some of you know what Lock8 is already, because we unveiled it yesterday and launched on Kickstarter. But here's an overview again, for those who missed it. So, do you know how this feels? Has this ever happened to you? I'm sure it has. Bicycle theft is a huge problem worldwide, with over 5.7 billion euros of stolen bicycles every year. And not only that, there's more than one bicycle stolen every minute in Europe alone. And in the US, the insurance damage is extraordinary. It's almost $1 billion of insurance damage. So bike security tech today is not that advanced. There are some keyless locks, and then there are some tracking devices. But they haven't been integrated, really. So what we did is we got a team together and asked ourselves, how can we make a truly smart lock that we could use? So what does a truly smart lock have to have? It has to have an alarm, it has to be secure, and it has to be GPS trackable, because we don't know if it might fail eventually. And above all, it has to have a keyless mechanism. So we took all of this together, and if I can get the slide back on, please. So we took all of this together, and we made Lock8. And Lock8 is truly revolutionary. And I'll talk to you more about Lock8 right now. So you can see that Lock8 is now installed on this bike. So, again, the sensors inside Lock8 are truly advanced. And before we talk about what the sensors do, we need to see why we would need these sensors. So here are the villains of bicycle theft. Okay, so what happens if our criminal here tries to use a saw or drill through Lock8? For that, we added a vibration switch. For other things, we added not only a hammer, but we can check if the gyroscope works or not. And then, if someone tries to use a blowtorch or spray a cold spray on Lock8, a temperature sensor will be able to detect this. A light sensor makes sure that no drill can go through, and if it does, it'll detect it immediately. And if you try to break the cable, we hot-wired it. So that means that this smart cable will detect it immediately.
Don't tell me, show me. Just have him fucking cut the thing.
We'll have a live demo in a second, but because I have to switch on the app. So
you're stalling.
I'm not stalling, I'm explaining. So, and if your bicycle actually gets stolen, we have a tracker, a GPS tracker that no other bicycle lock has. So now we'll go to the demo. So if I switch to the app, please. So this is the Lock8 app. So now I'm going to enable the app so that the alarm is actually switched on. So once I enable that, if my thief tries to tamper with it, it switches on the alarm, and I will shortly get a push notification. Can I have the screen on, please? So can I have the app back on, please? The actual app? The iPhone? So apparently the iPhone no longer wants to work. Okay, there we go. So the tamper detected, your bike might be at risk, and it gives me that notification immediately. Not only that, but I can locate myself, I can locate my lock where my lock is, and if I want to do more things, I can offer my bike to rent to anyone. I can check the settings, change the vibration sensitivity, and either receive the notifications by push, email, or SMS. I can also rent bike locks. So for example, if we scan here in Berlin, right now we have 3 bike locks. Actually, there's one very near me at the moment. So I could easily rent this bike and use it here in Berlin. So we'll go back to the presentation. So what does Lock8 allow you? Using incredible technology inside the device, as well as a really advanced app, we can share bikes easily with anyone that we want. But not only that, if you want to make money with your bike, you can rent your bike out to whoever you want, and you can rest assured that your bike will be safe. In addition to this, we can have connected mobility. We can offer this and expand in many cities and truly disrupt what bicycle sharing is all about. So we don't need connected infrastructure. We just need simple devices in Lock8. So this is Lock8 for you, and thank you for your attention. Thank you, TechCrunch.
Thank you.
Can I ask quick questions that aren't really comments, just to get some understanding?
Yeah.
Like one-word answer type things. And how's it powered?
Okay, so to power it, we have
No, like an answer would be there's a lithium battery.
well, we have induction loop inside the casing and magnets on the spokes. So
fuck
whenever
is an
you spin,
induction loop?
it causes induction
Is that a real?
on the system.
So it charges itself as you ride
It
your bike?
charges itself as you ride it, but in addition, just in case.
Why is there a temperature sensor? What use is that?
So we actually recruited bike thieves, and we used bike thieves to see what type of tools they use to break locks. And
For blowtorch. It's for
so
blowtorches.
they use blowtorches, but
Got
they
it.
also
Wait,
use
hold on.
spray.
I'm only asking for brief answers so you can get lots of feedback from the
Okay,
other judges. So
that's
it's
fine.
for you. And how much does it cost to build this? What's your cost to build it?
Okay, so we have to scale it up. So we estimate that it'll be about $50, maybe.
And what are you
even
going to
less.
sell it for? What's the
We're going to
retail?
sell it for, it's right now on Kickstarter for £69, and we estimate that the final retail price is £99.
Thanks.
99 pounds.
£99, which is comparable to a
So it's
U-Lock.
more expensive than most of the used bikes.
Yeah, but this is not for... people get used bikes because they're afraid that their bikes will be stolen. So if you're not afraid of your bike being stolen, you'll probably get a bike that you actually really want.
Can I ask you a quick question? How big is the current bike lock market? And is that the storyline here or not? It sounds like you're pitching Airbnb bike.
Yeah, so the bike lock market is pretty big. So bicycle
Pretty
cars-
big.
Wait,
It's pretty big, Mike. Would you invest in that?
I like pretty big.
I like
yeah.
pretty big.
Is it $1 billion a year?
It's 20 million bike locks sold in Europe last year.
At what price? You're making us do the math, dude. Just like, it's how big?
At what price? It's a range. So you can get a simple lock for £1, which I wouldn't personally do,
So this
to
is something
120.
that, this is actually something that Y Combinator taught us, right? Y Combinator demonstrated, they nailed this. It's like, this is $1 billion a year market. Like,
Yeah.
you're not telling, like, I actually,
20
how
million
big is the
year
bike lock market?
Times what? 30 bucks?
I don't know. It's a very big market.
Let's say it's $50, so then it would be $1 billion market.
Could I ask you to actually use the microphones because I can't understand you when you're talking about
Yeah, no.
yourself.
How does this connect to the internet?
It's got a GSM chip.
It's got a what?
GSM chip. So
It's got-
same thing that's
Is it
in
a
your
SIM
iPhone.
card? You're saying it's got a SIM card?
Sorry?
SIM card?
No, instead of using a SIM card, we have a SIM chip. So it's already pre-installed in it. It's much more difficult to tamper with, and it allows us to use networks in different countries.
So I think you have like a very compelling story, but I think you're telling like 3 or 4 different stories, and we're like getting confused. So is it a bike lock solution? Is it like share my bike rental? Is it something else? Like I'm trying to understand like what's the primary thing?
It's the three things. It's a security device, but it also allows connected mobility. So that's why we're not selling a bike lock. We're selling a security device that connects your bicycle.
Okay.
So, again, I think it's hard to do all things, and there are other guys who are doing shareable bike locks, right? There are other solutions out there for unlocking your bike remotely to let friends use it or to rent your bike. But my question is really, is the purpose here to protect your bike from being stolen, or just to give you notifications that your bike is in the process of being stolen? Because it feels like a very elaborate way of telling you your bike is being stolen. If it's at night in a place where there are not a lot of people around, I don't think they'll care about the noise.
Well,
And I don't know if you're going to run out and stop them. What?
The alarm theoretically is to deter
Yeah,
theft.
but I don't know if that... so that's my question. Is this going to actually deter a thief?
Exactly. So that's the key word. This is a theft deterrent. So it's not only a lock that basically fixes your bike to some place. It's a theft deterrent.
But
If
somebody could use bolt cutters and cut that cable.
Yes, they could potentially cut the cable, the alarm would go off, you would know. What thieves have told us is when they said, what is the best tool to break a lock? They said, the only thing that we need is time. And what this takes away is time. You can respond faster. And not only that, we're partnering with insurance companies and other companies that allow you to return these things. So if your bike gets stolen, it'll be insured, number one. And number two, you might get it back. Right now, 1% of bikes that are stolen are returned. We want to push it up to 90%.
Lindy.
Just switching tack a bit, tell me about you and the founding team.
Okay, so the founding team
How does that make this unique?
Yeah, so I'm an engineer. When I started this, I was starting my doctorate in engineering science, and I'm the CTO. We've also got a great team of really good electronics engineers, mechanical engineers.
Where's the CEO?
The CEO, he had to be away. He had a personal problem, unfortunately.
He had what?
A personal problem that he had to deal with.
Okay.
And my CEO is Franz Salzman, who was here yesterday. And he is an economist, and he did a master's in finance. And he was working in banking before and worked for Christoph Mayer for 2 years.
How much money have you raised?
We cannot disclose this yet.
Why is that? That's a very European thing.
I don't know.
We're not gonna.
We can't go against what an investors ask us. So we have great investors, and we cherish our investors. So we would not go against what they ask us. So we have raised a significant amount to go into production.
Well, but I'm still puzzled. So it is theft prevention. You describe how many bikes are stolen, but this price point is so high that it only applies to very few bikes. That are very expensive and they don't stand around in the streets, but rather are at home. So I don't get how big the market is for that.
Well, the market will grow as the bicycle market grows, number one. And number two, as I said, this is only part of our business model. We have a B2C business model, which is this, but we need that B2C model to expand and actually have people recognize how this product works so that we can expand to the B2B and have companies and cities actually sponsor bicycle themes and connect cities using our device. So it's both things at the same time.
So are you going to get these on the Boris bikes, or what are you going to do with
On
that?
the what, sorry?
You know, with a lot of the shared cycle schemes right now, are you planning to compete head-to-head with that?
Yes, we want to compete with them, but we spoke to someone who actually does the bicycle sharing thing. He incorporates them into cities, and he talks with cities about this. And lots of cities don't want to invest so much in infrastructure. So this allows a very scalable solution that can be put in any city, really, without the necessity of huge infrastructure and using private investments as well, rather than subsidized.
So not
Is
New
the
York,
city your
not
customer?
London.
Sorry. Is the city your customer?
Usually the cities don't actually pay for this. It's private investment that pays for this, and then the city subsidizes that scheme brought in by a private investor. For example, in London, Barclays put the bikes, and the city subsidizes the use of those bikes.
Okay.
I'll say I went a lot harder on you than than I really would have if I realized you were stepping in for your CEO. So I was like, why don't you know this stuff? But the fact that you're stepping in and have done this good of a job pitching it is actually great. So.
I mean, in reality, we're both CTO and CEO. We have a strong team. Thank you so much.
As much as I appreciate that fact, I'm still going to be hard on you. It's
I
confusing
appreciate it.
what
It's
you're
constructive
pitching.
criticism.
I don't, when I thought you were coming on stage, I thought you were going to wipe the floor with the rest of the guys because you don't have any competition. All those other three solutions have multiple competitors in the market. You have a very clear solution, which is, we're an electronic bike lock. And I was like, okay, I kind of get that. And then you're pitching three other things that I don't quite get, and now it's confusing.
No, I completely get it's confusing, and to us, it's a great opportunity because that means that we've done something that very few people. When we got into this, they told us, "Don't do hardware. Don't get into hardware. It's too difficult. You won't be able to do it." We've done it already, and then we said, "This hardware is so advanced that not only did we develop a bike lock, we developed a solution for bicycle sharing." So obviously, we'll want to have both. We can do both. And therefore, we now have a hardware product with the software solution as well that is 3 businesses in one. And we can attack these businesses individually.
Can you educate me a bit more about the collaborative bike economy? Because obviously, cities like London and New York and Paris have these kind of schemes. So is it smaller cities? How are you going to convince them to do that? Tell me about the economy.
So in large cities, yes, there are schemes already available, but there aren't enough bikes. And the way you have to rent bikes is very complicated. You have to have already a subscription for it. You can only use them for half an hour, and then you have to run and find the docking station, and you can't find the docking station because they're already occupied. Everyone goes from outside the city into the center of the city, so they're either full at the beginning or empty. So you never have a solution for this. But if you have bikes, and you can put bikes wherever you want and have people move them around wherever you need them, then it's much easier to add to this
I think
as
you're
well.
pitching us a bike sharing solution. The lock
It is,
the lock
definitely.
is an add-on. It's not the main story.
Yeah, that's-
And the city is your customer, even though you're trying to
Yeah,
deny
I mean,
it.
we came up with the name Lock8 before we realized
Right.
what we had invented.
Okay.
And
That's okay,
so
you can
we
pivot.
keep the lock,
I
but
think
it's more.
smaller cities could be
Yeah,
one
actually,
approach.
we're-
Don't go for the big ones.
Smaller cities,
The smaller
especially
cities, they tend to be more neighborly and collaborative anyway.
exactly the ones who have rejected solutions
Right.
for an infrastructure. That's the ones. who want.
Okay, I don't think there are any further questions. So thank you very much, Lock8, for presenting.
Thank you, TechCrunch.